What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for June 1st, 2023. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. It's always fun when the calendar goes to June. There's a lot of anticipation. The end of the school year is near. It's summer. Even as an administrator now, I don't have my summers off, but just the anticipation of not having to do the daily grind with teachers and students and everything. It's nice. It's a little bit more low-key. You're able to get more work done. So I'm looking forward to it. It's June. I will take it. Quick update from yesterday. I do this all the time, I guess because when I lived in the city, he was always running for mayor. The owner of the Sixers back in the 80s when they won the championship was Harold Katz, not Sam Katz. Sam Katz actually ran for mayor. Harold Katz was the owner of the Sixers. All right, Phillies update. Another tough one, 4-1 to the Mets. 9 hits, 9 left on base, 0 for 7 of runners in scoring position again. Nola did not pitch bad. I mean, 4 runs in 6 innings. I mean, you got to expect the offense is going to score more than 1 run, especially when you're getting the guys there. They're just not knocking them in. And at this point, I'm hearing like on the radio, different articles I'm reading, different places I look for things, and everybody keeps saying who's to blame, and people want to blame Dombrowski, people want to blame Rob Thompson. Guess what? It's the players. I mean, and Trey Turner, is completely is underachieving. Kyle Schwarber needs to get his head out of his ass and start hitting. It's June. Usually he goes on a streak in June, but he's hitting homers. But man, you can't be hitting like 160, man. That's bad. Bryce has been Bryce. I mean, Castellanos is playing well. The guys are playing well in pockets, but they're not getting the job done. And then they're kind of leaving the pitching staff out to dry. Then there's the games where they're scoring runs. Pitching staff is leaving them out to dry. So they're just a mess. And everybody's like, oh, blame it. No, the team is who the team is. They should be much better than what they are. The manager can only do so much. I mean, he's tried every different combination. It comes down to the players. And I said this a couple weeks ago. They need to have like a players-only meeting where they lay it all out on the table and just, I mean, I don't know. It's starting to become a problem. And they're not the worst in the league, unfortunately, with runners in scoring position. Ironically enough, the Braves are. But they still, it's just, I don't know. It's just a mess. I don't know who's to blame, but it's definitely each one of those players need to take a look in the mirror and ask themselves what they can do better, how they can improve, because Dombrowski, Rob Thompson, none of those guys are going to make you not make boneheaded mistakes or not hit the ball where it needs to be or not see the ball. Put in extra batting. I don't know, but they're too good to be playing this bad. Lost in all of the poor play, and I should have mentioned this yesterday. I had forgotten about it until the Citizens Bank Park tour, which, by the way, the stadium is just amazing. Just kind of seeing it behind the scenes like that, it's I think the best stadium in the league. Definitely biased, but I definitely think it's true. But Scott Rowland is going to be inducted into the Phillies Wall of Fame, and I mean, keeping in line with everything yet, it makes sense. I don't know if they're going to retire his number. I sure as hell hope not, just because the players played for you and he's in the Hall of Fame. Just very I don't know. And I think in this case, it makes sense to put him in the Wall of Fame because he's going to the Hall of Famer. But I think the Phillies Wall of Fame is starting to get watered down because they have to put somebody in every year. But I don't know. Yeah, Roland's going to the Hall of Fame. He spent most of his career in Philly, but everybody has their opinion on Scott Rowland. We'll leave it at that. Quick Sixers update. And I don't know how much stock I put into this, but Marcus Hayes quoted an unnamed source within the Sixers front office that when Jimmy Butler was here, he rubbed everybody the wrong way, and within a month, Joel Embiid was asking for a trade. They were talking about this on the Hugh Douglas, Joe Giglio show yesterday, and they kind of beat it around the bush with it. And I think it's fair to question Joe's not drive, but like his toughness, I guess, when it comes to really stepping up and being a leader, because you can see his body language a lot of times he gets down. But I don't know how much stock I would put in an article by Marcus Hayes, who so many times comes out with this outlandish stuff, and I don't think I'm saying anything anybody else hasn't said either. He always has unnamed sources and kind of makes shit up. Similar to like at Howard Eskin, but at least at Howard Eskin does have some sources and gets some things right. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that Marcus Hayes has ever gotten right. So I take that article with a grain of salt. However, there could be something there to what's going to happen with Nick Nurse, because Nick Nurse is the type of coach who's going to be riding and basically calling you out when you mess up. He's not going to coddle you like Brett Brown did. He's not going to coddle you kind of the way that Doc Rivers did. And you don't have a Ben Simmons to put the blame on or this, that. So I'm anxious to see. There definitely could be some smoke there. But again, anything Marcus Hayes writes, I kind of take with a grain of salt because of just some of the things that he said were definitely happening that were wrong. Union won 1-0. The big story out of this game was Jason Kelce was that he beat the drum, chugged a beer, broke the mallet that they used to beat the drum. And I don't think there's anybody that is more of a Philly athlete than Jason Kelce. And I mean, it's just, he's a legend, and we'll leave it at that. Flyers really quick. Danny Briere clarified that they're not actively shopping Carter Hart, which I agree with, but I also think you need to keep your eyes and the phone lines open in case somebody calls about him when you're in a rebuild like this. So just, he came out and clarified that, and that, I think that makes sense. I don't think they're necessarily actively shopping it, but they're not shopping it, if that makes sense. All right, Father's Day is coming up. Sticking with the Flyers, phillygoat.com. I was looking, and I really like some of the hats they have. And like that, I know I've been harping on the T-shirts, and their T-shirts are what they are. They're phenomenal. But some of the hats, like they have this 215 collection in all the different teams, and for the Flyers, it's like with the black and the orange lettering. They have the bully hats where it just says bullies on it. Really, I don't know. I really like them, so be sure to check them out. Drop some hints for Father's Day. If you if you go check it out now, use the promo code Jim Montgomery, all one word, for 10% off your order. You can also click the link in the description wherever you're getting this, whether you got it from Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, wherever. Click the link and it'll take you right there, and you get your 10% off. But promo code Jim Montgomery, phillygoat.com. It's a great Father's Day gift. Great quality shirts. You saw the Ring the Bell shirt I had yesterday. So phillygoat.com, promo code Jim Montgomery, all one word, for 10% off of your order. All right, sticking with the Flyers, we're going to go back to 1988. And on this day, June 1st, 1988, Paul Holmgren, who was a right winger for the Flyers from 1975 to 1984, was named head coach by another former Flyer player, Bobby Clarke. This, to me, was the official kicking off of the old boys network, where all of Bobby Clarke's old teammates became head coaches, moved their way up the coaching ranks. Holmgren was an assistant before taking over, but 3.5 years, he only went 107, 126, and 31. Did make it to the conference finals that first year, but missed the playoffs the next two and was fired in the fourth year after a slow start. Eventually, he would work his way back into the Flyers organization and become the general manager. He's still an advisor to Comcast Spectacor. So, I mean, it's still kind of the old boys network. I'm hoping, and I really think that this one's going to be different with Danny Briere. Danny Briere went to Wharton to take business classes to kind of learn how to manage the cap. And in reading up on this, a lot of other GMs in other sports have actually graduated from this program and have become successful. He also ran the day-to-day operations of the Maine Mariners, who Comcast bought. So I really think he's coming into it with more experience and more background knowledge than what some of the other guys did. And again, I could be just drinking the orange and black Kool-Aid, but I really think this one's going to be different. But on this day, back in 1988, Paul Holmgren became the Flyers head coach, lasting little less than a half season before getting fired, but coming back as general manager. All right, for June, we've kind of been doing these spotlights since February. Started with Black History Month, Women's History Month. We did Sixers playoffs. We did, I forget the other one we did. But what I wanted to do for June, especially since we're going to be entering into the slower time where it's just baseball, is I wanted to take a look at different things throughout. I have some Phillies things lined up for July and possibly August. But for June, I wanted to look at Philly's biggest rivals for all sports and colleges and just kind of see where this goes. I know for the other ones I had a pretty much a plan, but I think each one's going to be different depending on the sport and the team. But today, and these are in no particular order, I made a list, put them in a randomizer, and made a few minor tweaks, but no rhyme or reason to this. So we're going to start off today. June 1st rival is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And since 1976, and they don't have as long of a history as some of the other ones, but the Eagles are 8-8 all-time against the Buccaneers in the regular season, and it's been pretty streaky. The Eagles won 3, Tampa won 3. Eagles won 2, Tampa won 2. Eagles won 3, Tampa won 3. So if that move holds, that means you can mark that one down as a win for the Eagles when they play down in Tampa this year. Likely to happen based on the way Tampa is, and we've already given them the win for that anyway. But the reason I chose these guys as one of the rivals is more so for their postseason. The Buccaneers lead the postseason series 3-2. First met in 1979. It was the Buccaneers' first ever playoff game. And I think it was their first ever playoff game. But their first ever playoff victory came against the Eagles in the divisional round. In a game where the Eagles should not even have played them. But because the NFL had a rule back then that in the divisional round, division opponents could not play each other, the Eagles did not play Dallas. Dallas instead went and played the Rams, who ended up beating the Cowboys, but that's a whole other story. Then in 2000, the Eagles won 21-3 in the wild card round. That was Donovan and Andy's first playoff experience. Basically, the game that I was there, it was New Year's Eve. The game that led to me getting season tickets for the Eagles with the crew I have now. Somehow ended up with a shaved head, singing with a band on stage. With some other people out here who actually are listening to this podcast. But good times, and the reason why I got season tickets. That was in 2000. They played again the next year. Technically, it was in 2002, but it was for the 2001 season. It was also the second time they played in 2 weeks that year. Eagles won 31-9. They completely just rolled and dominated. For some reason, I don't know why. That was our first year with tickets. We did not get tickets for this playoffs. Again, not sure why, but we did go the next year, 2002. So they played each other 3 years in a row in the playoffs. This time was probably one of the worst losses ever experienced. We talked about this back in February. But the NFC Championship game for the 2002 season, it was the last game at the Vet, 27-10. The Buccaneers won. Joe George Vicious is still running down Broad Street. Rondé Barber's running the opposite way into the Navy Yard after that interception, and that was the year, and I think that changed the entire course of Andy Reid's thing. And then again, 2021, it was for the they played it in 2022, but it was for the 2021 season. But that was the wild card game with Tom Brady. Jalen Hurts' first game, the Eagles went down there and lost 31-15 in a game that was not even that close. But we did bounce back and go to the Super Bowl the following year. So Tampa Bay Buccaneers, today's rival for June 1st. And again, they've had some memorable regular season games, but this rivalry is more in the postseason. With the Buccaneers obviously winning the biggest one of their postseason games, that NFC Championship game back in 2002. for the 2002 season, I should say. But there we go. So this was today's rival. Again, as we go through, I have some college teams lined up, all the other sports. So we'll kind of see where it goes. Obviously, some are going to be better than others with the very division rivals. But I do think Tampa Bay they're probably up in my top 5 most hated teams for the Eagles. If I had to just go off the top of my head, obviously Giants, Cowboys, Patriots, maybe Washington and Tampa Bay are there. You might want to throw in, I don't even know. So yeah, Tampa, top 5 most hated team for the Eagles for me. But on this day, back in 1988, Paul Holmgren became the head coach of the Flyers, starting the Old Boys Network. But hopefully we get the Phillies bouncing back. They can't get swept by the Mets, can they? Anyway, this has been This Day in Philly Sports History. I'm Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Thursday. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.